My name is Danny Trejo. And before I became a movie star and machete, I was an armed robber. I robbed a few stores with a hand grenade. I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. As a kid, I was surrounded by girl cousins. I had a mom and dad that were really too busy. The only one that ever had any time for me was my Uncle Gilbert. My Uncle Gilbert was the last of 11 kids. By the time Gilbert came along, my grandma and grandpa were kind of done with kids, you know what I mean? And Gilbert was 6 years older than me, so me and Gilbert kind of became outcasts together because we always got in trouble. My uncle would steal my grandfather's car. And he'd take me and he would deal weed. I didn't know he was dealing weed. And he would pull up to somebody's house, they'd come out and say, give me 3, and he'd roll up 3 joints and sell 3 joints, and then that's what we did. The first time I watched Gilbert do a robbery, it was him and the friend named Charlie. I didn't even know that they were going to do anything. You know what I mean? But stopped in front of a liquor store, they both got out of the car, they both came out. And it's funny because they left the car running, you know, and they were just laughing and counting money. It seemed so easy, and they did it so much. My Uncle Gilbert gave me heroin when I was 12. I remember him telling me, hold this, I'm holding this, and bang. And the next thing I remember was that I was outside and I was just sitting there and I couldn't keep my head up. It was a great feeling. I remember trying to eat this ice cream and I would nod and what would wake me up was the dogs. Hey, get over here. I don't know if I ever got any ice cream or not, but I'll never forget that day. And I think from the time I was 12 then to the time I was 25, I tried to recapture that day. As soon as I started using drugs, I started committing crimes. You need the money for drugs, and it's real hard to realize whether you're getting the money to do drugs or doing drugs to get the money. I committed my first armed robbery at 14. I remember I stole a gun from my Uncle Art. It was a revolver, but the gun I got was broken. You had to hold it like this or it would fall. And so me and a friend of mine robbed a market on Lancashire Boulevard. I can remember going, give me the money. Give me the money. She was an old lady, and I kept saying, no, the box, because they kept all the big cash in a cigar box underneath the counter. When I kept pointing, no, down there, and when I went there, the gun broke in half. No. So now it's pointing at my shoe, and right when it did, this guy comes running out of the back with a cleaver. Ah! So me and Mike took off running, and my gun is going, you know. Got away with the $11, but it was kind of a fiasco. We ran away laughing. But then it just escalates. It's like robberies become a habit. You can be driving down the street with $400 in your pocket and go, hey, right there, that's a good score, and go rob something else. And I think that's one of the things that Gilbert happened to do was he hooked me to that easy life, not just drugs. I spent my teenage years stealing as much as I could and getting away with it. The key to a robbery is letting people absolutely know that you will kill them without saying a word. I threatened people just with intimidation. Sometimes I didn't even have a weapon. You know, there's people that couldn't look intimidating with a whole fistful of guns. And there's other people that can look intimidating just looking at somebody. I could intimidate. That was one of the keys to whatever success I had. I started committing crimes with a friend named Dennis. Dennis and I went on a 45-day crime spree, robbing anything we could. Robberies, whether it was strong arm, whether it was robbing somebody, whether it was just part of the day. You know, you could do a robbery and get $8, or a robbery and get, 17 grand. We used to spend thousands of dollars a day. I think one of the things that we specialized in was intimidation robberies. Give you an example. These guys robbed an armory, and I remember they had 3 or 4 hand grenades, and they were like real hand grenades, and I got one. Just holding it was scary. And you can pull the pin on a hand grenade, and as long as you hold that hammer down, it's not gonna go off. I don't care who you are and how tough you are. You see some idiot holding a hand grenade and having the pin right here and say, how about I put this in your pocket? I don't care, you're gonna pee. The minute they saw that, it was like, they're already opening the register. They were like, wow, what power. That's kind of what robbery's all about. It's not just the money, it's the power. Sometimes Dennis and I sold drugs, and sometimes we sold fake drugs, which was just sugar. Dennis had set up a drug deal. Yeah, the minute I got a look at this guy, I knew something was up. The guy buying the drugs, his partner looks a little shady. I mean, too clean cut. I knew he was a cop. I was glad we were selling him sugar. Dennis had the sugar, gave it to the Fed, and then the Fed turned around trying to give me the money, and I just looked at him straight in the... I looked at Dennis. Dennis grabbed the money. And then they left, and then I told Dennis that it's no good, Holmes. Guy's a cop. Nah. I knew they were in trouble because the feds mark money, so do the police. So what I did, the minute they left, I went and switched out the money at a restaurant where I knew the waitress. As we pulled into Dennis's, feds came from all over. Boy, all hell broke loose. There was about 15 different police, and wow, were they mad. Where's my money? I gave my money. That's not my money. Guy was berserk, because if they don't have the marked money, they ain't got nothing. And so this guy beat me all the way to the Federal Building downtown. I was on the floor of a 1965 Buick Riviera. Beautiful, had tan interior, I'll never forget it. And I'm bleeding hey, I'm bleeding all over your car. Kind of looked like the end for me. I was sentenced to 6 to 10 years for sale in lieu of narcotics. That means sale in pretendees dope. While serving my time, I was transferred to San Quentin. San Quentin is like the only right now place in the world. Everything happens right now. I can die right now. I can go to the hole right now. All this bad stuff can happen to me right now. People think that people walk around prison going, hey, I'm tougher than you. You don't. Prison is probably one of the politest places you're ever gonna be in, because if you're a killer, I'm a killer, he's a killer too. It's like the last thing you wanna do is be rude to somebody. San Quentin is the pincushion of the world. in here is where everybody gets stabbed. There's no such thing as a fair fight. You know, a fair fight is me coming up behind you, stabbing you 3 times and walking away. It's not that I did something wrong or that you did something wrong or that we pissed somebody off. It's like, this guy didn't get a letter. Do you understand? This guy didn't get a letter from his wife and just felt like stabbing someone. In San Quentin, you might get stabbed. You can use a magazine to protect from being attacked. Let me show you real quick. Armor, a magazine, best protection you can have. I don't think do they make Look magazine anymore? Anyway, there's a magazine, a Look, and it was a big one. You put it right here, cover your shirt, put a belt to protect it. And that's how we protect ourselves in prison. A long time ago, I had beat this guy up and took some drugs. And then when I got to San Quentin, he came in. And then the word came out that he wanted to retaliate. So I had a friend of mine, Tyrone, and Tyrone was the one that told me. I said, well, you know, bring me a shank, let's get him. I don't care how sharp something is. It's like, it will not penetrate a magazine. I put it right here and put one in back. Tyrone was gonna bring me make a shank. And I was in my cell getting ready to be attacked. They opened that gate and I came walking down like this. And then when I turned to go down, all of a sudden, bam, I got hit. Like boom, in my stomach. I started like, he hit me. I couldn't breathe. And then he turned around, Ty hit him twice. Boom, boom, and he went down. And he said, let's go. We took off because you got to get out of that block before it closes. Because then, you know, they search everybody. As we got out of the block, bam, they closed that down. I just seen all this blood splurt out. And I'm still like, he got me. I think he got me. And Tyron, hit the magazine, bitch. It was his blood. I never lived that down. He was like, every time somebody screwed up, it would go, he got me, fuck you, you know, but that magazine saved my life. And my friend Ty literally saved my life. I was surviving prison, but what happened on Cinco de Mayo literally changed everything. And it's like, boom, somebody hit you, might knock the wind out of you, but you're protected. I was surviving prison, but what happened on Cinco de Mayo literally changed everything. Cinco de Mayo, 1968. Powers that be in prison did probably the stupidest thing in the world. They invited an outside college baseball team to play a bunch of drunk Mexicans. They bring in some absolute Caucasian baseball team. They all look like Ricky Schroeder. The third baseman, I'll never forget, man. This big white boy just had gum, chewing like double bubble. You know, this big old waddle. You're not allowed gum in prison. And this guy is just like letting everybody know, I'm chewing gum. And Ray had come down from Tascadero, which is the mental hospital for the criminally insane. I remember Ray said, damn, I wish I had some gum. Ray had gone up, asked that guy for some gum. That guy's, no, I'm not supposed to give you any. Bam! Bam! Ray smacked him. And in prison, when something goes down, it just all goes down. It's kind of like if you had 1,000 rat traps, they all go. In a prison riot, anybody who's got a resentment just goes for it. and it was alleged that I hit Lieutenant Givens in the head with a rock. All I remember seeing him bleeding. It was just like chaos. And then they blew that whistle. When the whistle starts blowing, that means they're gonna shoot. The minute that bam! Me and Ray both turned up, we fell. And Ray, God, like a little kid, are they gonna hurt us? Nah, no, we're already hurt. Don't worry about it. They marched us to the hole. There's solitary, which is you're in a cell by yourself. And then there's a hole, which is completely dark, quiet. And that, I think they outlawed that now. When we were in the hole, I was questioning my whole life. I was 24 years old. That's a baby. Because they said we attacked guards. Those are gas chamber offenses. I remember asking God to let me die with dignity. That's all I remember. Let me die with dignity. I will say your name every day, and I will do whatever I can for my fellow inmate. I said inmate because I never thought I was getting out. I got out of the hole a month or so later, and I started going to AA. It changed my life. And it helped me never to touch drugs or alcohol again. And I started helping my fellow inmates. And when I went to parole board in July of 1969, and I started talking about AA and a good guy I turned in, he said, we're kicking you out of here. And I was stunned. They were just tired of seeing me. After I got out of prison, and I became a drug counselor, my whole life changed. My whole life came from a taker to a giver and a helper. That's all I do. No more life of crime for me.